Hello Internet, it's Zeg, we're back in Factorio. Actually, I'm not even back, this is just like the third recording session today, so we're just continuing on from my perspective, but we're back. So last episode right at the end I did a quick bit of design work on potential oil refinery setups. So now we probably need to do a bit of planning about where we're going to put them. So I have belt space here to run coal down onto the main bus and the circuits coming from the station. I did also leave a gap here which, I left primarily as a path, but there's still plenty of space there that I could probably fit a plastic line in if I want, maybe. Because theoretically coal from the train station can be split between going down this way and going out, maybe over here somewhere, and then the plastic can come back in across the bottom. I suppose the first question I should attempt to have a guess at is how much plastic we actually need in this factory, because one of the things that uses a lot of plastic is red circuits, which we're not making in this factory. So what else uses plastic directly? Well, there's low density structures, of course. Those use a whole bunch of plastic. And we're going to need to be making a fair amount of those eventually for the rocket. What else uses plastic? Well, maybe stuff I haven't researched. Tank shells, I think, use plastic, right? Yeah. And then tank shells upgrade into artillery shells, don't they? Yes, so you would need plastic for those. That might be mostly it. Is there anything in purple science that uses plastic directly? No, because the productivity modules, again, we're making the circuits elsewhere. And the yellow science uses blue, and that's being made elsewhere as well. So yeah, we might not need all that much plastic in this base. About nope, that's not really made from this stuff. So it's mainly rocket fuel, obviously we're going to need that for the rocket. Except that doesn't even need to be made in the oil refinery area, because we can just run a pipe of light oil in and then just make solid fuel out of light oil and combine it with the light oil in place to make the rocket fuel. So yeah, I mean, regardless of anything else, a belt of plastic is going to have to come in here. That much is certain. And then what else do we need out of the oil refinery? Well, we need sulfur on a belt for the chemical science. And sulfuric acid. Wait, no, hang on. Do we need sulfuric acid? For batteries. Okay, yes, we need sulfuric acid. Lubricant. Is that everything? Plastic, sulfur, sulfuric acid, lubricant. That might be everything. I mean, fuel blocks for the fueling the trains, I guess, but that's a relatively small amount. So I'm going to say we just sort of throw down an oil refinery vaguely over here somewhere, vertically. We can always move it later. Although, moving fluid around is always a pain in the butt, so, ideally we probably don't want to move it. That would be good. So let's quickly get the oil and cracking blueprint rotated this way round and just do some more assumptions. So we've got the three pipes. There's heavy up here, we've got medium in the middle, and then petroleum gas on the front. If we wanted to do outputs going, say, forwards. Doesn't really matter how deep that forwards line is, because we can just merge belts along the front. We're going to need some pipes and belts. Okay, so here's what we do. First we assume that all these belts are going to go away, which is, you know, likely. Eventually. In fact, better idea might be to just reroute them up the centre of the bus for now. I should have enough space. Or, alternate plan, you could just branch off another train line and stick a train station down here and pick it all up by a train. It's a bit ridiculous, considering I already have all these belts running along here, but that could be an option. Which seems like a better, well, it would be much quicker to just run the belts up the middle of the bus. Let me just count that out and see if I definitely do have enough space. Okay, so instead of this stone belt going down, we'd have a stone belt going up. Well, no, I guess you'd need both, technically. Would you? Because the only thing it's used for right now is the train lines, but it will be used for other stuff. No, okay, let's assume that downwards belt is where the downwards belt is going to go. So if we have, let's just say, one green, one red, one blue belt, then that leaves us 6 slots, so that should be plenty, but then you're also going to need coal going down, as well as coal going up. So that leaves 5, so that should still work, because we've only got 5 belts coming in. Yeah, I think that might be the plan. It's going to require me to put down a lot of belts, but it'll probably be a decent investment for convenience's sake. Okay, well, actually, I'll tell you what we will do. Since I have a construction zone up here with bots, I can actually just lay out the 5 belts that I want. So let's say these 5. Copy that. And then just start pasting. And the bots will deal with most of the construction work. Oh, is that another bit of water in this? So it is. Am I carrying landfill? Nope, it's in the car. So the bots can handle it all the way up to here. And they can also handle some of this upper area too. We'll deal with the junction in a minute. This is quite ridiculous amount of belts. Okay, about here somewhere should be far enough to turn. Right? Yeah, it aligns pretty well. That's lab research speed 4. Very pointless. Wait, are my yellow sciences done? We can actually get that robot worker speed upgrade. Looks like they might be. Okay, they are. Good. Except for like this one extra processing unit. We'll get that in there. Just finish off that last one. Okay, good. Wow, did I make exactly 400? That's pretty precise. What does that divide into? Like 45, right? No, wait, that can't be right. 40. That doesn't sound right either. No, yeah, it is. What am I talking about? Of course it does. Can't even do simple maths. Okay, we'll just... nope, that's the wrong place to click. Just put these into the respective labs, and then we can do a tiny bit more yellow research. Work at robot speed 3. Right, there's starting to be some gaps in the copper belt, so I should probably turn on the copper train and then do a priority merge on it. Oh yeah, that does line up very nicely, in fact. And I'm out of belts. Oh yeah, and I suppose that iron belt is meant to be red, not yellow. Well, we can deal with that in a minute. Okay, that'll be enough for now. Okay, that's all the belts reset. Now we just need to make the junction up top. That's enough robots. I can get a lot of belts by reclaiming all this. Actually, wait, no, wait, I was about to turn on my personal roboport, but that's going to fill in this blueprint that I'm standing right next to. I should really probably just extend the zone and let the bots finish that off. That should be far enough. No, not quite. I was still slightly in range. Okay, now let's go connect these belts up at the top, especially the coal one, because otherwise my power's going to shut off. Where do we send the coal? Well, I could send it straight across the train line and get the trains refueled with coal for the meantime. It's probably not necessary though. Although it is going to interfere with the unloading. Wait, no, because this belt doesn't... Well, no, I guess that belt kind of does need to be there. That's the copper line, isn't it? Well, I'll compact it as much as possible then, and we'll go this way. Okay, now we've got 2 iron lines, one of which has to be turned to the left instead. Let's do a merge like this for now. No, not that one. This one needs to go underground. So that should technically be red. We'll deal with that in a minute. And this is the copper build. So hopefully, when I've picked up all these red belts, I should have exactly enough red belts to refill, to paint over that line. Well, yeah, theoretically. It's the same distance. Although, wait, which one is it now? It's the right-hand one, which means it's the bottom one over here, which means these are back to front because of the way they come out of the mines. But we can fix that just by making a slight mess. But oh. Crap. Where's that box? I can drop some stuff in there. And I really need to sort out my inventory. Okay, good. That's those rerouted. So that would mean I've now cleared up, I can just get rid of these belts, which will clear up the space to put in the oil refinery, at least the initial oil refinery. Hopefully the final oil refinery, but we'll see how it goes. So, that'll be the plan for this next 2 hours of sped up footage. Get the oil refinery in here, get an oil refinery in over here somehow, get red circuits going once I actually have plastic, and probably a coal train, which means we're going to have to take this deposit and run the train line. Not sure if we go over and down or down and across. Probably down and across, since it's a bit easier to just make a gate in that wall than come out this way. And that should probably keep me busy for 2 hours. So we'll see how that goes right now. And we're back. Okay, well, it's been not a busy time in the factory since it's mostly been offline because we're pretty much out of things to research which don't take either purple, yellow or grey. Technically we can still do grey science stuff, but we're running so low on coal here that it doesn't really keep up any longer. So I figured I'd just let it idle and then we can actually move the whole factory over. Extended the train line down to take this coal deposit so the power doesn't run out, so that's nicely set up with its gates and everything. And will theoretically let us get that iron deposit as well quite easily, and the uranium when we come to that. And then over here in the circuit factory, I've been looking at the maths again to see how large it might have to be, and the answer is pretty dang large. This layout of oil refineries with plastic makers on it is theoretically what you need to keep up with this much green circuits and the subsequent red circuits, is what the maths says. Basically, I'm building this all on the assumption that we're going to be running blue belts in here eventually, so one whole blue belt of iron goes into 30 green circuit factories, and to make one whole blue belt of plastic, which you need to keep up because it's an equal amount as the green circuits, one whole blue belt of plastic takes this much oil refining. Now technically we don't really need an entire blue belt of plastic because that's assuming that we're only making red circuits out of the green circuits, whereas in reality the blue circuits use 20 green circuits per blue circuit, so you're basically converting all the green circuits into blue circuits, not all the green circuits into red circuits. But I wanted to make at least the first iteration of the circuit factory able to completely output each of the individual circuits. So if we need one of them specifically more than the other in the main base, it will just be able to put out up to a whole belt's worth. Whether that's a good idea or not, don't really know. It's probably a quite excessive overbuild in some ways. Will we even get to the point of using an entire belt of red even? Who knows? And then, speaking of, excessive, the next stage to use an entire belt of green circuits and plastic to make red circuits, that's going to require apparently 180 factories for red circuits, which is going to take up, well, if that's 30, it's going to take up like 9 times as much of the space as that does. So you're talking probably 3 paired rows maybe. So we're talking at least probably down to here just on the red circuits. And then blue circuits, and then modules. I mean, I could probably cram some red circuits in here maybe. But then I'd be making it less than symmetrical. And of course, technically that isn't even all the oil refining we need to do, because you do still need sulfuric acid to make the blue circuit, so we do need to make a tiny amount of sulfur and then convert that to sulfuric acid, but that should be such an incredibly tiny amount compared to the massive amount that you need for the plastic. Shouldn't really be a problem. So I really don't know what I'm going to do with this hole. This might just end up being empty. Or I could fit red circuits in here and then just subtract off each row. That would probably also work. We'll subtract off only this side at least, so it will be symmetrical underneath the green circuits. That will probably be fine. And, I mean, initially I'm going to fill this gap with red circuits just so I can have red circuits. That's probably a good idea. So red circuits should be, we do the 2-to-1 method for wire, and then the underground belt plastic and all that, as we did in the other base. And I guess we can just line it up with the green circuits on the other side. There's not really any reason not to do that. I spaced the green circuits quite a long way back off that belt. Do we need to do that? Not especially, not on this side anyway. I'm thinking there will probably work. The plastic will come in precisely along the front. Yeah, we probably do want the plastic to be the one that goes into this bit. I think we won't need to go any further than this, because obviously this is the part of this factory that uses plastic. And then we need to branch the green circuits in. How do we want to go about doing that? Okay, maybe we make this a straight line. Not that that matters much. Right, bearing in mind we need red circuits to split off here, that way and this way. And blue circuits are going to be coming through up here as well. Actually, that's not even right, is it? Because if we think about it, we're going to not be making all of the red circuits here, so there's going to be several lines that are going to need to go up and then down. So we might need to shift it backwards a bit more to allow me to have an upwards red belt that then turns into a downwards red belt. And in fact we could do the same with the green circuits as well. If we go and split it here into the rest of the factory, that would probably be better. So let's take all this and move it back like 2 squares. Let me just help pick up all this plastic, because otherwise the bots will be there forever. Okay, so if we do the output belts for blue and red, and then the input belts for blue, green and red. So the blue one will just go out, the red one will go up and then down, and the green one will get put down here as well somehow. I guess it doesn't really need to go that well, no it does because it needs to split. That may not be enough space. We may need to, well, we could switch this gap in the bus onto the inside, I guess. Something like that should actually work. It doesn't really help the spacing of the bus at all. I mean, I suppose I could just make these go full loop. Or maybe bring the red ones over so they're next to the greens. Like that. That'll probably work. And then the output of this red factory will be a merge with the main line of reds. And the blues will go through. And then that means we can much easier split off the greens here. Right, and we want priority to output to the rest of the factory. Okay, that seems about right. Let's get all this armed up. What is it? It's 2 in 6, so it's 1 in 3, but it's slower than that, so it doesn't need to be anything faster than yellow arms. Does that also apply for the copper? It's 2 in 3, and this makes 2 out of 1, so that's 1 in 3. Yeah, it's fine. Totally fine. Okay, let's just get these belts set up so I can do the copy paste. And the power. Okay. Minus that splitter, but it's fine. Now we just hang out here for a minute. Okay, good. And now we untangle all the cables because we've got to make it look nice. And now get the copper in. Okay, we're finally making red circuits not in the other factory. Some amount. Not nearly as many as we need, but... or not nearly as many as we could theoretically be making anyway. Make sure the inventory's clear. Oh, yep, don't forget to put efficiency modules in everything. Okay, now let's run this belt. Oh, there's a power pole in the way. Let's connect it up across the bus the other direction, that's fine. Right, we're going to need arms. And a new circuit condition. How much is it? These stacked 200 again, so that's 4 foul. Wait, no, hang on. They stacked to 200, so that's 8, 10, 12. Yeah, that makes sense because it's like less than the greens. 12,000. Do we want that to be an and or an or? Because realistically we're probably going to be making the reds a lot slower. But we might be using them at the other end a lot slower as well. Which is why the out condition should definitely be an or. I suppose I can just put a time passed in there for now. For like, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes. Minutes might be a bit much. Well, no, considering how slow we're making them, maybe it's best to have it wait for a decent amount of time. Okay, so how many did I make? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20. Okay, so that's 20 out of 180 that we might potentially want. Okay, and then once we get back over to main base, we can set up belts to pull off the circuit train here and sort it and put it onto the bus. And then I think next episode it will probably be time to finally get rid of all this and reintegrate the labs into the main bus. Won't that be nice? It'll probably take a good long time to build all the intermediate products along the way. And we might even get to make some new stuff, some of the more high-tech military things maybe. Start thinking about tank shells and artillery and all that. Not that we're actually under attack at the moment. The pollution cloud is actually entirely inside our wall, apart from this tiny bit and a little bit coming off the coal mine. That's soon going to change as soon as everything turns back on. But for now, that will be the end of this episode. So put that social stuff back on the screen. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. They're mostly to inform you about our podcast when it gets released. The podcast is posted also on happysalad.net, our website, and I guess a bunch of podcast apps. If you get your podcast via an app somewhere, it probably is on at least some of them. I don't know how many. And then you're watching this video probably on our YouTube channel, where you can like and subscribe. And that's the end of the end card, and the end of this episode, and the end of everything. Okay then.